the recording proper. Yeah, thank you again for joining the meeting this Saturday. It is another powerful Saturday of impact. And as you can see, I have my boss, my guy.
I don't be boss, so.
let me tell you something, guys. He's actually in a conference. He just had to excuse himself and attend this meeting. And so we do not really take it for granted that we have him here to enlighten us on writing publications and attending conferences and how that will actually boost your chances of getting an offer for your master's degree or PhD degree in the US. And so please join me this afternoon without any further waste of time to welcome my friend, my boss, my colleague, my Oga Chidi. He's a student of Wayne State University, the US. He is a student in chemistry. And I'm very sure that he has come this evening in Nigeria, and I think morning, morning over there to really enlighten us. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation. You're welcome.
All right, thank you, everyone. First of all, I'm not his Oga. I am just I'm a student like all of us here, right? The only difference is I've been able to move over here, and every other person will still be able to move over here. You understand? It's just a matter of time. So I am grateful for this opportunity, to join us today, to talk about these things, because I tell people a success is not successful until it begets successors. Yeah. And
Wow.
That's my personal belief, my personal philosophy. That's how I understand this thing. And that particular saying of mine, takes its root from the general saying that we rise by lifting others. I'm an Igbo boy, right? To say Igbo big, you understand? Igbo became is unity, strength, right? I was just talking to him about when I came into the US, what really saved me, because I had a community here, you understand? Imagine those guys, and most of these guys that helped me when I came, some of them were actually my classmates in undergrad.
Wow.
Yes. And imagine some of them also told me about what's actually going on. I never knew about Education USA in the first place. Yes, I did it. He was a senior. He was my senior in undergrad. And then he left, though we worked together in UNN, as he was a lecturer. He came in as a graduate assistant, and then he left. So we've been talking. He was the person that told me, see what's going on. I was like, which one is Education
See, I'm actually wearing Education USA too.
Yeah, dude, I'm a scholar too. So he was like, this is what's up, this is what's going on. I said, okay, fine, let me just give it a shot. I didn't know Auntie Shade, I didn't know anybody. I think he sent me the link to apply. I applied, and it was COVID. And luckily, they sent me acceptance letter and then rushed me like, oh God. It was crazy, but I survived it. They rushed me with a whole lot of things. GRE here, TOEFL here, oh my God. So what I'm saying in essence is you need people. When you make it, you still need people to make it like you. So I'm just happy that I'm able to be here to share some insights, about your publications and the academic conferences. So, without wasting our time, I'm just going to share my screen. Just as he said, I am actually in a conference. And then, okay, I'm just going to be able to make this. I hope everybody can see my screen right now.
Oh, yes, we can see your screen.
It's good, right?
Yeah, very good, very good.
Okay. There are some guys popping up here that I need to let go. Don't know what they're doing right here. Okay, yeah, got it. Okay, so today, just as I said, I'm just really happy. I'm just going to be talking to us about just one department in the faculty of your application materials. And that is about publications and academic conferences. If I go fast, let me know. If I go too slow, let me know. The idea, as far as I'm concerned, is to give us these basic insights in those meetings. You're leaving this meeting and you know what to do, how to do it, and when to do it in order to add this part of your application. to the whole list in a ready format.
Mm.
So first of all, I just want to talk about what is considered a publication or what is considered an academic conference. Because I know in my undergrad, I'm going to say this. I studied biochemistry in UNN, in my undergrad, and then in my master's, I also did MSc in biochemistry, UNN. But in my undergrad, right, there's what we call NSBS. NSBS is Nigerian Society of Biochemistry Students, right? Then there is the Southeast uh, region, and then there is the national body, you understand? So we'll go to what we call NSBS conferences. Now, NSBS conference is where you go, other schools come around, they do things like quiz based on biochemistry competitions, people talk, and then they give us some talks and all that and all that. And then some of us believe after undergraduate that that is a conference and we'll put it in our CV. The
Oh,
truth
yeah.
is, it is not. It is not. For it to, when you're talking about an academic conference, it's just a way of saying a research conference. It's just people, researchers, people who
Yeah.
have had their little bites of academic research at different levels, anyways, coming together to discuss what they have been doing, to share knowledge, and then learn from other people based on questions they have asked in order to, answer some human-based problems. So if you're going to a conference like our NSBS conference, I'm sorry, that does not make it does not make a way into your CV, into your academic CV. Because first of all, I know all of us coming for this particular meeting right now is preparing for ourselves to apply for grad schools, most probably in the US. Because that's where everybody wants to come. Nobody wants to go to China again, you know. So if that is the case, for you to have a conference that counts, it has to be a research conference. Some people call it symposium, some call it a lot of different names, but it has to be a place where researchers at all levels come to display what they have done for some time, share the knowledge, and also learn from other people's projects. So that is one. And then number two is, it is not good for you to put into your CV an academic or scientific conference you attended, but then you did not present anything.
Mm.
That is not good. In fact, in the US, like, let me not say in the US, let me say in my school here, if you're going for a conference, right, you apply for funding. The major prerequisite, in fact, there are two things that qualifies them to give you that funding. Number one, is there a letter of acceptance from the conference organizing committee? Number two, what are you going there to talk? If you don't have a paper you're presenting, maybe in form of oral presentation or in form of a poster presentation,
Yeah.
you are not compliant. So that gives you an idea that the bundle is not complete if you don't have a talk you're presenting in that conference. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, for you to put that conference in your CV for grad school application, you need to, it has to be a conference that you've gone to and presented your work.
Mm.
Without that, you just went for picnic. You understand? In as much as you may not present it, but you still learn. But communication is two-way. You give people and then you collect from people. That is what we consider a successful academic conference. Now, talking about publication itself, what do you even consider a publication? Anybody can write anything and publish, right? But for those of us, I believe most of the people listening to me here are more of science-based people, because
Yeah.
these things are not they are not really forthcoming on the arts people side. Though they come,
Yeah.
but theirs come like a drop of water. It comes once in a while. But those of us in sciences, especially chemistry-based sciences, engineering,
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals, this is our place. All right. Now, for you to say you have a publication, it must be an article published by a journal which has undergone a peer review. When we say peer review, it's just about submitting a piece of work to people who do not know whomever wrote it, asking them to read through it and vet its scientific significance and contribution to scholarship. And when these people go through this and look at it, normally there are three reviewers. When these three people go through it and say this work is good for academic or public consumption, then they publish it. When you have something like that, that is considered an academic publication. And that is the kind of thing you want to have in your CV. Why I'm saying this is because some people, if you go to publications, you see them putting their undergraduate project that they have not published. Just they will write submitted to Department of Chemistry, Ahmadu Bello University. Sorry, I'm using that university. It may not be you people, but it's just an example. You know, that you wrote your project and submitted to your department is not a publication. Publication can come in two ways. It can either be published by a journal that you submit to, or you attended a conference and the conference organizing committee published it as a book of abstracts that one day. But you cannot compare a peer-reviewed paper with a paper that is on the book of abstract. However, there are still some conferences that go as far as publishing even that work you presented as a paper, because some conferences are linked to some journals. Like if you know MDPI, right? MDPI, they have a lot of journals under them, and they have a lot of symposium. So most time when you attend their conference and you submit your abstract, they'll ask you to submit the whole written work, but they will have to select. It's not everybody that comes that they do. I think I have like two. I have two papers actually that come out from that. That was when I was still in Nigeria. Now recently, So you attend the conference, and the conference organizers links the conference to a particular journal. So at the end of the day, they will select few papers that meet their requirement and say, submit your full draft and then let us publish it in our journal. If your work is very good, they're going to publish it free of charge for you. So this is another way to get a peer-reviewed publication. But another way is for you to wake up and say, okay, this is the work I've done. I want to publish it in this journal. Then you head to that journal and then they will submit it. You submit, they do peer review, and they return to you. You go through the process and they publish. Most times there are article processing charges. And that is actually why a lot of people delay from publishing their work or from having publications. You understand? So, but we're going to talk about that briefly. So I have just made you to understand the differences between your final year project and a publication. Your final year project is not a publication until you send it out for peer review. It's peer reviewed and sent back to you. You effect the corrections. In the US here, where you publish here, it's not as easy as for you. Here, they will suggest new experiments for you to do. Like you submit your paper to cell chemical biology, ACS chemical biology, Aguavante. Most of these guys, they will say after review, they will send it back to you. Some of them will suggest 2 extra experiments that you have to do. Some will suggest it, depending on the nature of your work. You understand? So that's not really common with the kind of journals we throw our paper into in Nigeria. But that's not a problem, trust me, because I'm going to still talk about that, because right here, what you're doing at this level is to show your admission or a graduate school review committee that I have had a test of research and I've been able to communicate my research. Just that basic knowledge. They don't care if you do it in your bathroom or in your kitchen or at the lab or anywhere. They just want to know, does this guy know even what is defined as research? Has he or she participated? Is there any evidence to show that you have seen a problem, asked a question, designed an experiment to answer that question, and then you communicated your finding to the general public? That is what they want to be convinced. So that's why at this your level, you are not interested in publishing in Nature or whatever. You just need paper. I tell people at this level, paper is paper. You understand? If you're, for example, if you, when I was in Nigeria, in UNN as a staff, there are journals you cannot publish as a staff because of appraiser. In UNN, if it's not, there's what they call indexing, right? If your paper is not, or the journal you publish with is not indexed in Scopus, Elsevier, or Thomson Reuters, or higher ones, it is not accepted. But the university will count it as a zero for you did not publish. And there are a number of publications you need to reach every year as a UNN, University of Nigerian staff, especially those of us in the sciences. You understand? So, but at this your level, trust me, that is not your problem. You just need a paper to tell them that you've done something. And they know whatever you've done is not really serious, but they just want to know if you have ever tried participating in that process, so that by the time they throw you into the lab here, you will not be far from the truth. You understand? So that is about publication, what is considered a publication and what is considered an academic conference. Then the next, if you have questions, just be writing them down. Once I finish, we can take them. I promise you, are not going to take long. Okay? Yeah, we will not. Then the next thing I want to talk about is, why do you really need a publication at a conference? I think I've said part of this. It is very, very important. Nobody would give you a scholarship that is worth $68,000 per year for 5 years without being convinced. And the part of conviction is to tell them that in as much as I've not gotten a Nobel laureate, a Nobel Prize, however, I want to do this at my little level. This is the little effort I have put to participate, to get experience, to have a hands-on, experience of this. With this that I've done in this my little environment, if you give me an opportunity to come to your school, to your lab, I'm going to utilize the whole big resources you have to even do bigger things. That is why you need a publication and conference. And without you convincing any graduate school reviewer on this basis, forget it, you'll try again next year. Yes. So what you need a publication is to show that at some point in your life, you're not just only interested in research, but you have tried detecting a scientific problem. You've also asked questions around this problem, and you have designed experiments to answer this question. And you've also participated in communicating that you're finding to the general public for the good of humanity. That is why you need publication and conference, because publication is a way to communicate. Conference is even another bigger way to communicate. In as much as publication communication is probably to the whole world, but the conference is probably within the confines of who attended. But each of these two accomplishes one aim, which is to communicate your participation, to communicate your achievement, to communicate that you're finding that you have actually seen in the lab. So you really need this, and it convinces your reviewers that yes, with this little experience, I think this guy is not far from what we might be paying him to come and do. Very, very important. Okay. So with that, I'm going to move to the next point, which is what are the types of publications you need? How many do you even need for the grad school application? And what timeline does it take for you to publish probably one paper? First of all, publications can actually be what they call research papers, and then it can still be review papers. Now, for research papers, this is where you identify a problem, ask your questions, design experiments to answer that questions, perform those experiments and collect data, which are answers to these questions. And then you arrange this data in a way that it easily presents an answer to your question, and then you communicate it. It can be computational, which is dry lab. It can be wet lab, where you go right into the lab to do things with your hand. People in the social sciences and arts, they do more of a secondary data collection. They probably want to know how the increase in a removal of fuel subsidy influences the number of people who read daily Sun newspaper. Yes, they will prepare a question and tell people, go, since the increased price, did it change your newspaper reading? How many do you used to read before? How many are you reading now? They will collect it for over 1,000 people, put the data together, analyze it statistically, and then they will see a pattern. And they will say, oh, yeah, since fuel subsidy has been removed, prices of things went up, prices of newspaper also went up. So the number of people reading newspaper dropped. Why? Because people are not able to meet up. I mean, because as the prices of newspaper increased, the salary did not increase. So they were still having the same amount of money to now buy something that is costing. As if you used to buy 5 newspapers in a week, some people were not even buying two. Some people even gave up and say, I not do again. That is how those people do their own. But for those of us who do wet lab, you can decide to understand that, there is a particular protein, for example. Now this protein does this, but this same protein does a good thing, but then in disease condition, this protein has been also discovered to be involved. Now your question is, how? Is there changes in this protein structure or function in the disease process versus a normal physiology? You go into your lab and begin to tackle your cells and protein. At the end of the day, you come out with your findings, say, yeah. And when this disease occurs, it increases the pH, and then this protein survives at a particular pH, but at this new pH, there's a conformational change. Instead of binding to a particular receptor, it's now binding to another receptor. You have found that, and you publish. That is wet lab. Some people may be like, there's this protein. Okay, let's use computational modeling to look at this particular protein. We know it used to bind to some ions, but it looks like in disease process, it may not be binding to that ion again. It's okay, let's use a MD simulation to check the binding motifs of this particular protein under these two conditions. They did not go into the lab, but he's in his room with his computer. And he will find out that the level of bonding interaction between the ion and this protein in these two different situations, they differ. He will publish. This is still research. But when it comes to the other type that they call review paper is just like perspective. That one, you don't need to go to lab. Just find a problem and begin to find evidences, what people have published, and put it together then to make a particular pattern. That one is easier. Trust me, it's easier. It's easier. But the truth is, for what you guys are coming here to do, review paper is a paper, but trust me, it does not weigh as a research paper, because a review paper does not show that you've actually done anything with your hands. The review paper is just your opinion about what people have done. You put this evidence, put this, and say, you with this is the state of this particular area of study, and from what you have, probably this is the future. You do not go to lab. It is very cheap to do. So there's no way it will weigh as a research paper. So I normally advise people at your level, if you can get a review paper, fine. But what is more important to you is a research paper at this point. Let the review paper be a backup, okay? So that's on the types of publication. And you probably do not need to publish in Nature or Thomson Reuters or Elsevier. There are small journals that can publish your paper with 50K. There are some small journals that can publish with even less than that. It doesn't have to be indexed in any very big indexing house, because most of the things you publish at this level is your project work. You understand? So that is, I'm still going to go deep into that. But then the next thing is, how many papers do you even need to have before you feel you are ready to apply for grad school in the US at least? I tell people, get a minimum of 2, a maximum of 4. If you can get more than 4, fine, but do not focus on getting 10 papers and go and fail your GRE exam. Don't do that. You won't go anywhere. If you have 100 publications, but you did not score well in GRE, trust me, you've not started. You have 1,000 publications and you go and write a TOEFL and you're having 65. You're not ready now. You're not ready. You have to go and prepare. So I tell people, if you can get at least 2 publications, at least 2, focus now on GRE and TOEFL and get those guys done. So get a minimum of 2. Don't go with 0. A minimum of 2. And then say you're really publishing, get that up to 4 and focus on some other things. Unless you know that publishing more is not distracting you from these other ones. Like me, as at the time of application, I think I had around 7 to 8 papers there. I was in the academic field. I was lecturing in UNN. So publishing is not a big deal. We do research every day, we publish. That may not be your case, because the only thing you have now is your project work. Except for those of you who are still, some kind of attaching yourself to some kind of lab or a professor or whoever that publishes, that increases your chance. But apart from that, all you can boost up is your project work. And some of you say your supervisors have published your project work without telling you. That means you have nothing even. You have nothing even. So it's not waste your time. Please, a minimum of 2. Make sure you have at least 2. And then maximum 4, 5. If you can go beyond that, fine. But make sure you are not selling your Peter to buy your Paul. Please don't do that. Then timeline. Now I tell people, on average, at the kind of journals you may want to publish at this level, right? It takes you, if you ask me, it will take you 3 months to just get a paper out from the time of submission. Yes, because you submit to them, they will give their reviewers. The reviewers will take their time and review. They'll get back to you, begin to effect the changes and all that. And then you send back, you do payment and you wait for them and all that. 3 months is enough. But for a standard paper, like papers from Elsevier, papers from Thomson Reuters, paper from Nature, some of them will take you 2 years. Oh. Yes, I submitted because when I did my MSc in UNN, right, I did 2 projects. We published it between 2019 to 2021. We published it. In fact, we started processing it for publication in 2019, late 2019, but it was published in 2021. Now, the second work, because I started it, I didn't finish that work, because I was working on drug delivery systems then. I do formulations and characterization and then the biochemical studies. So I did the design, did the whole formulation, started the characterization. I think I did over 70%, but then somebody has to finish the characterization and then go into biochemical studies. So I left, I traveled. So they'll be able to finish that work last year, somewhere, I think late last year, around October last year. So we submitted our work October last year. Till today, we've not even heard from the journal. But we know they will get back to us. It's a very big journal, journal of micro encapsulation. It's a very big journal. So some of them will take 6 months, some of them to take 1 year to even get back to you the first time. You don't need that at this point, my brothers and sisters. You don't. You just find the small, small ones. These small, small ones, you submit to them in 1 month, they will get back to you, sharp, sharp, and tell you, okay, fine, we'll review, we'll give you. Then before you know it, they will review and send you, you edit and submit. But 3 months, they'll get out your paper, you are fine. And also, these big ones, they are very costly. Yes, the first one we published, the one that we published in 2021, the article processing charge was $2,000. And yes, so you have to be prepared. So that is not what you want to do at this level. You just want to you just want to come here and do something with your life. And you just need the minimum. Okay. Find those small, small journals. Just find those small, small journals. I had this thing where I have those journals, but I think I'm missing it. But probably when I have time, I can send it to my yoga so he can give to you guys. They are just small, small journals. Put in your work. Yes, some of them 50K, some 70K. If you're 5 or 6 authors in the paper, gather the money together. At the end of the day, each person may spend like 10,000. Sometimes you split it, it comes down to 7,000, depending on the number of people you have in your group, right? So within 3 months, so if you are trying to apply for grad school this year, we start September. Am I right? Now this is June. July, August, September. So at least you can probably get out at least one paper. But the truth is, you can actually get out more than one paper in 3 months, depending on the number of papers you have at hand and the number of persons you are working with. I must not forget that I'm still going to talk about that. I must not forget to talk about the place of collaboration when it comes to publication. But in publications, this is where you need the highest level of collaboration for applying to a US. Your TOEFL and GRE, you can enter your room and you're there and read your book and pass your exam. Nobody cares. Your SOPs, you can stay on your own and write. Nobody cares. If you want people to help you read, fine. If you don't want, it's your business. But you see, publications, you need people to survive at the speed you want to go. If you do it alone, you probably may have one or less paper at the time of submission. Last year, when I had this kind of meeting last year, but that was Education USA boot camp.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. So I still talked about it. So after the meeting, some students reached out to me and said, please, they want to do. What I did was I put all of them in one group. I told them, whatever work you have, bring it. You see, I think there were about 3 people that have 3 different works. And in that group, I think there were about 7 or 6 students that reached out to me. I helped them within the next 3 months. They got those 3 papers published. At least each person has 3 papers.
Wow.
That's the power of publication. Assuming it's one person that has one paper, the highest the person can have is one. But you see how they came together. In fact, there were even people in that group that their supervisors have even published their work. So they don't even have any work. But because they joined in the group, help to write, help to proofread, do things. At the end of the day, each 6 of them, everybody has 3 papers. And they were able to apply. And some of them, I think some of them got admissions and all that. So that is it. So publication is something you cannot do on your own alone. You will go very slow. You will definitely go very, very slow. So you need people on this one, please. But I'm still going to tell you how probably you can do that. So I would move to the next one, which is the best ways to get or increase your publication. I think I've already started talking about this point. Collaborations. Collaborations. Find who has work, put yourselves into groups and say, I think there were 2 of my classmates. Yeah. They want to publish. They want to come over here. I said, okay, do you people have one? They say, this one say I have one word. This one say I have one word. I said, okay, fine, put yourselves together. Write and review and do whatever. I think they published their papers early April. So if 2 of them now, each of them has 2 papers. You understand? So number one, your undergraduate project is where to start from. Some of you, just as I said, you don't even have any again because your supervisors have taken your work away. Some of you still have. Some of you have only the hard copy. You can't even find the soft copy. And you're thinking about how to start typing again. You have to type. Oh. You're interested. You are typing. You will type. Okay? So your undergraduate work, first one. And the second way is to, I don't know where you locate yourself. If you can join yourself to any lecturer or any professor or any researcher who is actively publishing, submit yourself for mentorship. Let them train you. Let them groom you. They have work. When I was in Nigeria, my undergraduate supervisor, who is now my colleague, if you go to her, she's a professor. If you go to office, you see works people have done and abandoned and left. So I carry seeds, sit down. I tell her and say, Prof, can I make something out of these ones? Can the dry bone rise again? She say, yes. Son of man, speak. You know? So what I was doing was to carry those works, sit down and rewrite them, update the references, but the data has to be the same because you won't change data now. Rewrite them, send them to journals, they accept, we keep publishing. We still reached out to those students. Some of them say, don't worry, I'm no longer interested, take it and eat. Some say, thank God you called. I've been thinking about what to do with this. I'm telling you, because you won't publish somebody's work without their consent. You don't
Yeah.
do that. You have to, that consent is very, because if the person writes against you tomorrow, it will be taken down. So
Yeah.
we call them, say, see what we are trying to do with your work. Are you still interested? Someone say, no worry, me, I no bother. I'm fine, just chop it, chop it, chop it. Some will say, thank you. What do we do? How do we do it? You understand? That was because I mean, as at my undergrad, I did only one project. So, but as at the time I was doing my master's, I already have like 5 or 6. How can that happen? You collaborate with people, you work with people. So if you have a professor, a colleague, or something who is in that line, submit yourself under their mentorship, learn. Because grad school also is full of learning. You go write tire. You go write tire. You understand? Learn how to write. Academic communication, scientific writing is different from love letter. It's different from the letter you write your uncle for school fees. These days, if people know they write letter again, we don't write letter anymore now. In chat, you make calls and it's over. Nobody knows how to write letter. I don't even know if they're still teaching letter writing in secondary schools now. Because even if you carry your information, give AI, it will write better letter for you. You understand? So scientific writing is very, very different from some of you that write novel and write the good stories you publish and all that. So you have to learn. You learn from them and publish with them. I'm telling you, most of you here, any of you here who has 0 paper right now, you can still have like 2 or 3 from now to September.
Yeah.
It's very possible. It depends if you want to do it. So number one, go back to your undergraduate project. Contact your supervisor and say, oh God, beg go. Look at what I tell them the truth because they will still write a recommendation letter for you. And it's very bad. I keep saying this any year I talk on this platform. You don't graduate and leave your lecturers. That is the worst thing you do to yourself. I'm not saying you should be sending them money because money not even there. But check up them once in a while. Call them. You know, most lecturers in Nigeria do not reply to emails. I'm sorry to say this, but they reply to call and call them. Send, some of you are still doing something. You can still afford airtime 1K. Say, Prof, I say, let me thank you. Use this 1K and I'm be managing. You didn't give him big money, but you've just strengthened a relationship. So that tomorrow you say, Prof, I'm applying for this. So, I need recommendation letter. He will do that for you for 2 reasons, at least. Let me not talk about other reasons. Number one reason is you have kept on that relationship. Number two is if you succeed and travel to US now, share you once in a while, you send him dollar. Yes. You do not muzzle the ox that treads the coin now. That's what the Bible says. Is it not? You don't do that. There is a hope. Hope is a lot of things in life. So you do that, keep those relationships. Call them today, say, Prof, and I'm an undergraduate work or see what I'm pursuing, and I think I would need this. What can we do? Even if they have published it without telling you, he probably will find another work. They have students every year, right? You know how many students are graduating from the Nigerian universities every day? People do work and start doing Yahoo Yahoo. Some people do projects, graduate, and then they go into selling wigs. There are works to be written and published. He will tell you, we'll publish that work, or sorry, but there's another work we can. You say, fine, I beg, let me just write. Just guide me. I want this. They will guide you and help you. But the only problem with such persons is They want that paper in a high impact factor journal, which will take you over 1 year, which does not solve your problem. So while you work with them, work more of with your peers, like the people you on the same level and race with. There is somebody here who has an undergraduate work that you can put yourself into. You people join and write it together and pay the money together and publish. This is a very, very serious way. Then you can even come up with review papers, bring out a review topic, plan it, put a draft and say, you write on this point, you write. At the end of the day, you merge it together. It becomes a paper, you publish. You understand? This is the best ways you can get these things done. And just as I said, I keep repeating, do not target the high impact factor journals. It will waste your time. You don't have that time. Okay, good. So the next thing I want to talk about now is actually the publication process. How does it happen? How does the publication process happen? First of all, you have to have a manuscript that you've written. And for you to write a manuscript, you write it. Every journal has what they call guide for authors, guideline for authors. You go and read their guideline for authors to take you how to make the figures, how to do the headings, how to arrange the order of your work and everything. You follow that and write your work. Then after writing, you use your hand and proofread. You can send to a colleague that you're working with to proofread for you. Then you submit it to the journal. Some journal will just tell you, email the document format to this email, maybe to the editor. Some have online submission system platform where you go and they fill some forms online and submit your work online. It depends on whichever. Then before you start, check the application, the article processing charge. If it's the one you cannot carry, don't waste your time. Okay. Check the article processing charge. Is something you can do, then put up your work, submit, and then wait for the review. They will take time to review your work. Once they are done reviewing your work, they will send it back to you to tell you what and what you can improve. Once you improve that, you submit it to them. They go through and say, okay, fine, now it's time to pay. You pay. After paying, you wait. Probably in the next 1 or 2 months, they will publish your work and send it to you. You add that one. But before you publish, you really need to read and write your work very well. I review for journals, and so there are some papers they will send to you. You see the language of writing the paper self, you get tired. Please, some people, you can use Grammarly, you can use whatever softwares or whatever you can use to, make your grammar quality. There are some, another thing about publication is sometimes you have very little data, but the way you present that data counts. In fact, the way you present your data can actually make a journal to either accept or reject your work. Very, very important. So you really need to take your time. You don't just wake up and start publishing. You have to go through somebody's mentor. Somebody has to guide you. Somebody has to tell you what to do. Somebody has to, show you the way. Please submit yourself to that mentorship and get it done. Just as I said, don't go for the big journals, go for the small, small ones. Now, before I talk about, I conclude, I want to really talk about academic conferences and how to get them. Now, one thing about conferences is money, oriented, is money intensive. Why? Because imagine you're traveling from Lagos to come to Nsukka, UNN, to attend a conference. Maybe as a student, most conferences in Nigeria, students will register with 5,000, right? And then if you don't know anybody in Nsukka, you have to find a way to book a hotel, right? And then if the conference is 2-3 days, you have to buy food for 2-3 days. With the economic situation in Nigeria now, you may not like yourself. So sometimes I tell people either is the conference is a hybrid, like virtual and then in person. Take advantage of the virtual because you cut down cost of transportation, housing, and feeding. You can be still feeding from a house the way you have been feeding, and then you just pay for the conference registration, submit your paper, prepare. In fact, you don't even have to print a poster. You save the cost of poster printing. You just prepare slide and present your work online. You may want to take advantage of that. However, if you have the money, or maybe you are in Enugu and then the conference is in Nsukka, I mean, you should go in person. Or you are in Lagos and the conference is in Ogun State, it's close, right? You can just dive in. Or maybe you are in Abuja and the conference is somewhere in Lokoja or even in Kaduna or Niger. Say you know too far, right? You can just chime in. And most times, you even have somebody around that place. Maybe you graduated from UNN and they are in Lagos, the conference is in UNN, but you still have some juniors that are still in school. You just chime in and stay in their house. You don't cut off hotel booking, right? So yes, you do. The thing is apply wisdom, know what you can do. But the truth is, money should never be a problem why you should not participate. And just as in publications, please, if you can do up to 2 to 3 academic conferences, even if it's the same work you're presenting, it's not a problem. I mean, as an undergrad, it's only one work you most probably will have. Take it to 2, 3 conferences. Keep talking about, keep singing the song. It's not a problem, you know. But just try and make sure you have at least 2 conference attendance, 2 publications, minimum. You understand? That's going to help you a lot because it shows participation, it shows interest. Is a pointer to your passion for this thing. Even though we know most of us no be passion, they carry us come. Now money will define. You understand? I know the year when I came here, my PI will be like, I see your passion. I need to talk for my mind. This one I don't know it's in my mind. When I just just do let's go and face business, So yes, but you just want these things there is on an official level. You just want to convince somebody that this is it. You're providing evidences. If you do GRE, they will give you one of the options they will give you most times is that the information provided is not enough to answer the question. Right? If you do GRE, you must have seen something like that. So you want to provide them enough information to conclude that this person has what we are looking for. Okay. Now, finally, before we go to your question and answers, I want to make some recommendations, please. From what I saw in last year admission, I am sorry to announce that the game has changed. It's not, no, a lot of persons will not tell you, but I will tell you. I have over 25 mentees down there in Nigeria. There are some of my mentees that I've not seen for the first time in my life. Yes. From Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, all over the place, I have a lot of them. And I'm telling you the truth, my people, the business is no longer, see, what admission, graduate school admission is in US now is different from what it was in 2020, 2021 when we came. It has totally changed. In 2020, 2021, even 2022, there's no way you have a first class and you not get admitted now. Sure, your village people do you. Village people not even reach that one. People we are packing admits. During my time, I think I had like 4 admits. I have a friend that got like 6. People we are packing admits. Even if they give admit there, we for not sell entire die. But you see this time around, you see this one that just like these people that you guys are coming in August now. Hey, Ichoko, it's very difficult. I'm telling you, I'm sorry to say this. I can tell you that over 70% of my mentees did not get admits, not even one. I'm talking about first class. So I'm not talking about 2-1 or high 2-1. 4.0, 4.2, 4.5, 4.6. CGPA, no admits. The truth is, I think the funding sources are dropping. And now, having the publications, the conferences, the CGP, my brothers and sisters, it is no longer enough. I think this time what you need to do, once you have satisfied all these conditions, efficiency, say, having done all to stand. You get what I'm saying? Now, having achieved all these things, my dear people, stand, pray. Pray that God will guide you to through your application to a department in a school that is looking for what you have. It is the G factor now because Nigerians they do, guy. Yeah, we know the year one. I'm sure that some of the people in this group, some of them has 4. I know some of my mentees, they are here. Some of them have publications here. Some have first class, they are here. I'm telling you what I can see them in the group. They are here. You need just satisfy the conditions, right? But then go and kneel down and pray. In fact, the most surprising part is one of my mentees that is coming. I think it's coming in 3rd week of July. Yeah, it's coming. He's already booked his flight. His 2-1 is not even up to 3.8. All he has is 3.5. Yes, 3.5. I think he has one or few publications. No GRE, no TOEFL. Yes, no GRE, no TOEFL. CGPA 3.5. He was my student, like my student that I taught in UNN. I've been mentoring him since then. He applied. He got masters. partial funding. We were like, Otilo, how you want to collect visa? How you want to get visa? And he went and he got the visa. You know, when God said you are going, you will go.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking you. And among the whole applications he submitted, only this school got back to him. And they just got back with a yes. Simple. You get what I'm saying? So, it's like chasing the wind. It's just like chasing the wind, right? So having fulfilled all these conditions, all these boundary conditions, according to most people, after you fulfill these boundary conditions, please pray. Pray. Do not neglect that. Just pray and let just God in his ways of doing things, put your hands and your head together to drop in your work, to drop in your application in a particular department and program or school that is looking for that one thing that you have that probably another person doesn't have. And if that happens, trust me, you should be fine. So, but just as I said, why we are asking you to have all these things is when God is helping you, you help yourself too. You understand? Doing all to stand, then do what? Stand. So that is the last I will say. I'm willing to take your questions at this point. Thank you so much. I
Wow,
will
wow.
stop at this point.
Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. Yeah, it seems as though you are in the spirit, sincerely, because this that you just said, I was planning that, Saturday is our last webinar, next Saturday.
Yeah.
I was planning that we're going to talk about the reality of grad school application. And as you started, I was like, wow, it seems you read our mind before, it's actually becoming very difficult now. Even from some of the people that I added to the visa group. And Chade was saying that as at last year, that was, I think we were around March this year or April. And she was saying that as at last year, March, April, they had over 100 people on the visa group already. And as at this year, March, April, I'm not sure we're up to 50. So things are really becoming crazy, difficult. It requires a lot of tenacity, doggedness, hard work, and commitment. And I really hope that we are going to put in our best, because obviously it's going to be a very big impact in our life. And I hope that we are going to put in all the energy that we need at this time. The sleepless nights will be there, writing GRE will be there, writing papers. I was telling some people that you will still write a recommendation letter for professors yourself. And you must make sure you do not write the same thing for 3 of them. So I started writing your own SOP. I started writing your own CV. I started doing all the papers, writing papers, putting them together. Some lecturers, you have to write a recommendation letter for them because they don't have the time.
Yes.
And so you have to be thinking that, how will I write this for this lecturer? Because if the lecturers are submitting for you, you must not write the same thing for them.
It has to be different. Totally different.
So it's becoming very serious. I hope that God will help everyone. Like my brother said, let's pray, let's trust God, and also let's put in our effort. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. We are very grateful, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Let me take questions now. Okay, I can see a question in the chat box. It says, what about patents? What does it mean? Okay.
Let me see that question.
Yeah,
Let me
patents.
check.
There's a Q&A section.
In the chat box, right?
No, in the Q&A section. The Q&A section.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't see it.
Okay, you can see that. Okay, let me see if I can.
Wait, let me check something.
Okay.
It says in Q&A, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what about patents? What does it mean? Okay. Yeah. Now, patents are just some kind of maybe if you're doing patents is easier for people who are into method development, experiment kind of research, right? You develop a method and then you want to patent it to you, right? It's different from trade secrets. That one is at another level. So when you patent a thing, you kind of have given off that to say wherever this has to be used, this is mine. But the problem is those of us in academia who prefer patenting than trade secret. But people in the industry, they would prefer trade secret so that nobody else will see it. But for patenting, you are making it available to be used, but you're making it sure that wherever this has to be used, know that it belongs to me. But you can use it. Now, patent is a very good thing to even get you in, but the truth is, it doesn't come every day. It doesn't come every day. And with the kind of research we do in Nigeria, patenting is not an everyday kind of meal. But at this point, if you are here and you have patent, is a big thing for your grad school application. You understand? Add it. Do not miss to add it. It is very, very important. It's not easy. It's more, I think it's more weight than publications. Yes, it is more weight than publications. You understand? So yes, if you have your patent, put it. But if you don't have, don't go and spend time looking for patent. Go the easier way. You don't have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, you know it, September will be here. And let me tell you the truth. If you don't submit your application by December 1, I'm sorry. Is at that point you're still giving the grace of God more work to do. You are frustrating the grace of God. In fact, you are using it in ways that God Himself, who has the grace, may not like. Early submission wins the offers. Let me tell you, over 70 or more than 70% of schools in the US do review on a rolling basis. They do admission on a rolling basis. Do you know what that means? As you submit, we review and decide. As you submit, we review. If they need 20 students and they get 20 students from September 1 to November 30th, if you're submitting by December, January, you're on your own.
What's it long?
Guys, I will till of far. I'll just send you a message that we have considered your application there, but we regret. Once you see that regret, close the email, check the next. You understand what I'm saying? So please try and apply early. During my time, my first application, because I started late a bit, why? Because Education US sent me approval letter, acceptance letter
Okay.
on
OFP.
on September 28th.
Wow.
OFP. And this day, let me even be
Yeah.
saying it. It looks as if there are spirits somewhere. This is Atisha and Malate.
Malate, Miss Malate.
They sent me acceptance on September 28th. And then I think on October 1st or 2nd, they sent me a message that they've registered me for GRE and that I'm writing
Wow.
GRE November 9th. No, listen, November 9th. So
Are you serious?
I had October for GRE. If I'm not sure book can kill me again in this life. No, maybe something else, but not book. I prepared for GRE for just 1 month. It was mad. I wrote my GRE on the 9th of November. Then I submitted my first application on November 14th. And that was University of Alabama.
Alabama.
Why? Because I was pursuing their code.
Waiver.
Their waiver. I was pursuing their code. I think I submitted that application without my GRE. Then later, when my GRE takes like 2 weeks to come out, right? Yeah. Later, when my GRE came out, I sent it to them. Manually, I didn't even go I didn't do ETS. Okay, no, what I did was, as I was going to write the GRE, I already knew I was going to submit Alabama for their waiver code. So I wrote down their name as the schools that I want ETS to send free of charge.
Yeah.
Free of charge. There were 4 schools they will give you, right? That was what I did. So I think they got my GRE later after submission, and they were the first school to give me offer. They gave me offer December 2020.
Wow, are you serious?
I submitted 14th of November.
Wow.
14th of November. And December, I think before December 15th,
wow,
they've already sent me offer. That was the first school I applied. That was the first school that gave me offer. I'm sorry to break the heart. I didn't go again.
Wow.
So early submission does a whole lot of things. I keep saying this. Please, if by end of November you've not submitted 70% of your applications, you are joking. You are joking. Please, it's difficult, but try. Try. They will tell you it starts September 1 and ends December 1. My brother, use your head. If possible, you see if it's possible, submit everything within September and October.
Yeah.
If possible. Though it will not be possible. Why? Because your recommenders will frustrate you. That's where the relationships comes. How many of you here can pick and call that prof anytime, any day? Mine is very easy for me because the people writing recommendation letter for me, we are my colleagues. So if you verse me, I go walk enter your office, I'll be like, okay, now, how far now? Now you'll be like, Chidi, wait, well, no problem. I'm just gonna okay, yeah. What did you even say? Yeah, let's sometimes I will sit in your office, carry your laptop and be typing it. If I finish typing it, I will show you. I say, oh, prof, I'm done. Do it here and now. And these people, they are very busy. They have a lot of things. Imagine me in Nsukka. It was difficult for me to catch them there in the same school, in the same department, in the same like you see my office. The next door is the office of my recommender. It was
Are you
difficult.
serious?
Imagine you now that is in Abuja talking to somebody in Nsukka on phone. You go, how do you now? So what you do is you start early. Start early. Soften the ground. Soften the ground. Send him data. Say, Prof, at least for submitting my recommendation, now you need data. Nobody says no to money. They don't say no. Just, use your head. Clear the road for yourself, for goodness sake. They are very busy, but create the relationship to a point that you can disturb them and they don't mind you disturbing them.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much.
Now, some of you say, people that will write recommendation for you, you've not even started talking to them yet. Start now. I'm telling you, start with happy new week, happy new month. Even if they are not responding, keep sending it so that you close it. And what will happen is once you and see the way you do it, don't do you submit for this one school, you go and disturb him to send to that school. You submit to another school, you go. No, I did mine in packets.
Get that.
Yes, I did mine. I think I submitted 12 applications. I wanted to do, but Auntie Sade said no, is enough. Don't do again. So I submitted it in, I think, in 3 packets. If I submit to this 4 school, I will talk to my recommender. They will do it for me. I do another 4, they will do it for me. So I disturbed them 3 times. So you should apply. You see if you can apply to 20 schools, please do. You don't this with the way things are going now, you don't have limits. There's no limit. Do whatever you can. As much as possible. Avoid paying for application fee because another one now you go pay you pass.
Yeah.
Waivers, look for the codes as much. Write the graduate coordinators. Those that will send. Don't make it look like you're begging, but yes, you're still begging now. Are you not begging? Yeah, right?
Wow.
So please, if you have patents, that's fine. But if you don't have patent, don't leave easy things you can get to go and start looking for patent. You're not looking for Nobel Prize. It's just admission you want and funding. You understand? So that is what I would say. I don't know if there's another question.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. There's another question actually. And I think, like I said before, it seems like I'm already entering the session for next Saturday, the last session we are having. This is strategy, sincerely speaking. I remember that I did this same thing last year. Now, a year before, 2022 I applied. So because of the recommendation of Wahala, I was doing it small. When I was about to submit application, I put the name of the recommender. And it was very slow. But last year what I did? I already had like a lot of schools I wanted to apply to, like maybe 14 schools or 15 schools. I opened the application. I was just, before submitting my CV, my SOP, I was just skip to recommendation. I just input the name.
Yeah.
First, second,
So
third. Immediately you submit, you input the name, you send to the recommender, even before you even start your application. So I think we talk more about this on Saturday. Thank you so much for that. Another question I have there.
Somebody saying they had something in is that geology,
yeah,
right?
they have
and then they're not trying to
geology,
submit application in material science. Is it okay for you to publish your work in geophysics? And yes, it is. It is very okay. Now, in Nigeria, it's very difficult. And sometimes people see it as unusual for you to switch disciplines. I'll tell you a story of my colleague here and friend and sister anyways. In Nigeria, she did physics education, undergrad and masters. But today she's doing her PhD in chemistry department. That may sound somehow. Somebody who did physics education, I didn't say P and industrial physics. I said physics education, undergraduate, masters. And she already started teaching, lecturing as a physics lecturer. And then she applied for chemistry PhD program. Now all of us there in my department. Now we came together. So in America, right, it is normal, it is fine for you to have your undergraduate in biochemistry, have your master's in engineering, and go to PhD and do law. Is okay. What matters is at each stage, what were your achievements?
Yeah.
So you see that your paper in geophysics, publish it with your full chest. You show that when you were in geophysics, you did well,
Yeah,
you were productive, you were successful. So if we move you to material science, you're even going to be more
yeah.
successful. Just make sure in your SOP, you
Mm,
let us know about why you decided to move into geophysics.
exactly.
You have to justify that. You have to
Yeah,
connect your physics to material
yeah,
science.
yeah.
People's choices and goals grow and advance and change. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? Put that in your SOP.
Mm,
Please, there should be some level of harmony
mm.
between your SOP, your CV, and the recommendation letters that are
Data
coming.
you're submitting as well, yeah.
Don't just submit disjointed pieces of information. He's saying one thing, your SOP is even talking another thing. And then when the recommendation comes, it's in another planet. Please, let there be some level of coherence. Let there be
Harmony,
harmony between this
harmony.
so that somebody finish reading your CV and they're reading your SOP and they could see your CV in your
Mm,
SOP.
mm.
Please,
I think I can even share an experience as well. I have a friend.
go
Okay,
ahead.
you guys remember now, Silas came to take us on CV, the first webinar we had on CV. Silas
Okay,
did chemistry, like he did chemistry in the in Nigeria. Now he's going for a
okay.
PhD in material science and engineering. Let me use my own example. I did industrial chemistry, University of Ibadan. I'm going for a PhD in College of Pharmacy. That's pharmaceutical science, drug design. So you don't really have to, maybe I'm doing chemistry now, I must do chemistry. No, no, I think the way US will operate, you don't really do that. So if you
Yeah,
have an interest, because sometimes, like you said, your interest might change. You get so what actually changed my own interest was because after school, after NYC, blah blah blah, I started working in a pharmaceutical company. And when I started working in the pharmacy, I was like, wow, this is looking interesting. So I decided
mhm.
to apply to one school, pharmacy, and I got it. Do you understand? So you don't really have to do chemistry, go for chemistry PhD, go for postdoc chemistry. If you know that your research is changing, then you
Yeah,
can have publication in that line of interest and submit them.
yeah. Like me, even in my undergrad, my research was more of a natural product
Products.
chemistry.
Yeah.
And in my master's, I went into nanoscience 100%.
Wow. Wow.
Now, in my PhD, I'm now a chemical biologist. It doesn't, in fact, let me tell you, here in this part of the world, is even advantageous to you because it gives you opportunities to apply to more jobs because if it's here,
Yeah.
you have experience, here you have experience, here you have experience. So yes, my brother, you see that paper in geophysics, publish it with your life and destiny and start on it. It's fine. It's very fine. Okay.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, let me think. I think there's another question. Let me see the chat. It says, okay, I've emailed about professors, but I'm not getting responses. It's making me frustrated already. Oh.
Okay, I can tell you about that. Well, let me say this. It's going to sound funny, but it's true. This thing they call love. Love must not be returned. That is one. And then number two is um, that love is not returned does not mean you cannot love or you don't continue loving. I know those days in undergrad, you like a girl, you go and talk to her, she say no. Oh, but you move. So you've been emailing professors and the professors are not answering. Keep emailing others. Send reminders in 2 weeks. I
Yeah.
used to. Let me tell you, the first admission I got actually was not in the US. It
Wow.
was it was Canada I was supposed to go
Wow.
to. I emailed some professors, some in the US. I could remember this particular man from Bowling Green State University,
Oh,
Ohio.
boy. Okay.
The man is into antimicrobial therapeutics and all that.
Hmm.
He does phage therapy. Then there's this lab in Canada. The woman does, I think what she studies is she studies effect of maternal nutrition on infant genetic outcome,
Hmm.
metabolic outcome. So I was emailing some were not responding. I kept emailing. This particular woman, I emailed, she didn't respond. I sent a reminder after 2 weeks, she didn't respond. I sent another reminder after the other 3 weeks. She responded.
Wow.
And she responded and said, fine, yeah, she's been busy, she's been out of town and all that and all that. That she saw my CV, she really likes it, that she's going to forward it to the graduate program and they're going to admit me.
Wow.
Yes. And they admitted me.
Wow.
Why I did not go to Canada is because in that school, for you to start a PhD, you need to have finished your master's. Then I've concluded my master's, but I've not done final defense, so I've not completed. So I told her, she was like, send in your master's transcript and the certificate so that they can proceed. I told her, because of COVID, I've not done these things. She was like, sorry, there's nothing she can do. And that was how I didn't go to Canada. Although luckily anyway, but I think I told her there are still more Nigerians, applying, that she should extend the offer to another Nigerian. And my colleague got into that lab.
Wow.
Yes, my colleague, but he's in Canada now.
Wow.
So the thing is, that professor that did not reply, maybe he's sick, or he traveled for a conference, or he's, another way you can go is you can time when the email gets into their mailbox. If you're sending an email on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, here is your case.
Yeah.
Yes, now. You want to send them an email that will get into their computer by Monday, 10 a.m. in the morning. That's when they get to office and open their computers, for those that do not work from home. So you can also take advantage of a time and space to partition your email. It's a good strategy. So that was, as he comes to his office, the email will pop up. You'll be like, who is this person from
Who is this
Nigeria?
person? Who is this person?
And another thing, please, some of you write this in form of code emails. Nobody has that. Yeah, people are busy now. Even me, I will not read. Small boy like me, talk more of prof. I'm telling you, if you make it too heavy, I'll be like, well, I'll just send voice note. Your code email should be short and hot. It's a code email, it has to come hot. You have to, starting from the caption.
Yeah.
If the caption is not attractive, you started playing. You just started playing. A very attractive caption and very short message. Then attach your CV. Attach whatever the attachments your life can attach. Attach them. Please make it short and stay to the point. Let the heading be very captivating. And then all those things about yourself that you want to really talk about, put them in your CV. Hello, Professor. This I've read in your lab. Make them understand that you followed them. Don't say I'm writing to apply. Who are you applying to? Don't do that kind of thing. I've been following your research. I've read through your research, and I'm curious to learn about how you were able to do this and do that. As a result, I'm considering so whatever in your school or in your lab. To know more about me, I've attached whatever, my CV, whatever, hoping to hear from you. It's not more than 5 sentences. That's what a code email should be. Bring professor, give them what they want, make them understand that you didn't just come from anywhere. You've been following them, you've been reading around them. Start with one of his papers. They like it when you talk about their publications.
Yeah. See that? Let me share this. That was exactly what I did though. See this school, now before the man decided about funding, he made sure he had the meeting. The school sent offer without any form of funding or anything. Now the man scheduled a meeting with me. What I did was that I just went online. I went for his latest paper, latest one that he published. And I did a slide. He didn't ask me to do any slide. He didn't tell me to do anything. He just said, oh, can I meet with you today? All of that. And I said, no problem. I presented the slide. And as we started the meeting, just like a conversation, I said, oh, I read this paper, this and this. Can I present to you? You say, oh, okay, go ahead. And that was what I presented. Additionally, I added my own project in school. I presented it. So they are very happy.
That was actually where you killed him. That was actually where you killed him. Because number one, you've brought in what he... See, let me tell you. Fine. Life doesn't have to be transactional. But trust me, life is transactional. You don't have to live your life as... Like, you don't have to do things for people expecting something, right? But if you get down to some basic aspects of this life, you don't get anything until you give something. What you did was to give him you just baited him like a fish. And he caught the bait. And that is how you don't just go to code email and start talking about yourself, what you want to do and whatever. No. Tell him about, just the most recent paper is very interesting. That means you've been following this guy. That you read this paper and, it's amazing how this, you actually want, sometimes you can start with, I really want to talk about this, your paper. I have a few questions I want to ask. He will fix a meeting. Query him about that paper. The more you query him, the more he understands that this young man has an insight. And then the next thing will be, what are you doing right now? You probably may not even come up with the part that you're looking for. Give them what they want. Not going to write code emails of, I'm applying for this. You are, who is not applying? Everybody is applying. Do you even know
Yeah.
my lab? Why are you
Yeah.
talking to me? That's the first question they asked. So, this person emailing me, what do they want?
Mm.
What do they want?
Mm.
And you don't want anything related to my research and you want to join my lab. It doesn't make any meaning.
Mm.
So please let your code email be code email. Some of you send boring email and say it's code email. So my
Wow.
friend that has been sending code email, please keep sending,
Mm.
but change your strategy.
Mm.
I don't know what you've been sending. I
Yeah.
don't know the content of the letters you've been emails you've been sending, but please take advantage of what we said now.
Mm.
Change it and see if things will not change for
Mm.
you. And as you do that, you pray, God day. Okay?
Amen. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. Sincerely, I know that everyone here has gotten one or two things, and this is going to be a life changer for many people here. Thank you
May God,
for
may
honoring
God
our
help.
invitation despite your busy schedule. I know you're in the
Ah,
conference and you still
they've been
time
telling
to
me that I need to
you
come
have to
and
go
wrap.
now. You can just appreciate him in the chat box. Can you just say thank you? Thank you so much.
It's fine. If you
Yeah.
have any more questions after
Yeah.
now, just to my
And
Oga.
I also have people that are interested in publication, maybe they don't really know how to go about it.
Put them together and then I can tell you
Yeah,
what to.
yeah, definitely I do that. Thank you for honoring our invitation.
It's fine.
Yes.
It's fine.
All right,
Thank you, guys.
everyone.
Have a
Thank you
nice
for
day.
joining.
Eh?
And you
Have
too.
a nice evening. You guys already in the evening.
Yeah, in the evening. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye. Thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining again. Been an amazing session. I hope you learned a lot. So we continue. The last session is on Saturday and it's on recommendation letter. You know, he started recommendation letter today and I didn't know it was going to get that line. That is also very important in your application because these schools, they really rate your letters from your professors. And you have to be very smart about it. So let's join on Saturday. It will be the last Saturday, the last session for this bootcamp. Also, we'll also be talking about some graduate school realities. I plan to also bring some other people aside the speaker on Saturday to talk about the reality of this thing because it seemed like, oh, it's just to apply, but it's becoming more difficult. Like you heard what he said. So I'm bringing some more people to share their experience. Some people have applied, they've been on this application process for like 3 years, some 4 years. In fact, I have people that have been there for like 5 years and yet nothing. So we have to be smart about our application. We have to be very strategic about it. So let's come on Saturday, the final session, and wrap it up, talk about the reality of grad school, talk about recommendation letters, and hopefully we trust God that everything will go well. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining today again. Have a wonderful evening. Yeah.